First here at 11 o'clock in downtown Louisville, we have had rain on and off this evening. In fact, just within the last hour, some of you are once again seeing a lot of lightning in your neighborhoods and hearing some thunder. Our relentless summer thunderstorms are not taking a break tonight. Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Prophet, and thank you very much for joining us. We want to check in with our chief meteorologist, Mallory Schnell. And Mallory, is this going to be another loud night overnight?
It could be for the next hour or two. So these storms are quickly moving in from the northwest. They actually did weaken somewhat moving into the Louisville area, but we're still seeing some heavy downpours crossing over into Shelby County, also down into Bullitt County as well. And we are starting to see more flashes of lightning once again on our metro cams, especially you can see around Valley Station and down in Mount Washington as well. Big picture view, we basically have 3 storm clusters out there this evening. We have one up near Madison, Indiana, the second one that's diving out of the Louisville metro area, and then one just off to our west and southwest that could clip a few of our far western counties, areas like Hardinsburg down into Grayson County as well. But once that moves through, we're just looking at maybe some light rain on the backside, so shouldn't be too noisy for too much longer. Your hour-by-hour futurecast showing that those storms continuing to dive off to the east, southeast, and gradually weakening as they do so. Most of us will start off dry tomorrow, and then some stronger storms look to arrive ahead of a front by the afternoon and evening hours. We'll be talking much more about threats and the timing for those storms tomorrow. That's coming up in our extended forecast. Doug.
All right, good heads up about tomorrow. Thank you, Mallory. Also live here at 11 on the WHAS 11 night team. We're giving you a look right now at the nearly 100-year-old 2nd Street Bridge. You see, that's the bridge with the sort of greenish yellow lights closest to your screen here tonight at 11. Of course, it crosses the Ohio River connecting downtown Louisville to southern Indiana. Chances are you've crossed it and probably even held your breath as you did it. For the first time today, residents talked to both Louisville and southern Indiana officials, leaders, about the safety of the bridge as a special meeting was called about it. WHAS 11 night team's Alex Dieterer and photojournalist Aspen Hester learned that speed on the narrow bridge is the top concern.
More than 20,000 cars drive across the toll-free 2nd Street Bridge every day. A more dangerous drive across the Ohio River, but a free one.
People they just go too fast for whatever reason, and they don't look out for their own safety, let alone the safety of the other people on the bridge.
Speeding, the #1 concern for many Kentuckiana residents who take the 2nd Street Bridge, like William Reedy.
Unfortunate disregard kind of for other motorist safety.
A growing concern, so Indiana State Representative Wendy Dantchesser brought residents and city officials from both sides of the river to talk about the safety of the bridge.
We certainly want to minimize fatalities and accidents, first and foremost. Safety is, if you can't be safe, then nothing else really matters.
The first meeting of its kind included Louisville's Public Works Director.
The issue with the 2nd Street Bridge isn't just a Louisville issue, it affects all of us.
Representative Dantchesser said that people began sounding the alarm after the terrifying moments last March, when semi-truck driver Sidney Thomas crashed and dangled over the bridge for 40 minutes before being rescued. And just over the past 3 weeks, 2 people have died in crashes on the bridge. Officials say speed is the factor for both. Some solutions mentioned in the forum include directing larger vehicles like semis into other routes, increasing speed enforcement, and going from 4 lanes down to 3, which has already been tested.
When the semi ran off the bridge last year, we dropped a lane. We went down to 3 lanes, and to the best of my knowledge, there were no accidents on that bridge.
Because the 2nd Street Bridge is owned by the state, any changes to the bridge have to be approved by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet.
Speed just has to be a part of that.
2 states divided by a river, but coming together to find a solution for the bridge that connects them. In Clarksville, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS 11 night team, on your side.
Representative Dantchesser there of Indiana said the meeting was a way to start documenting what people are interested in seeing, but that the conversations need to keep happening. We have an update for you. The scheduled closure and maintenance for I-65 in downtown Louisville off the Kennedy Bridge has been postponed due to pending weekend weather. The closure was supposed to allow crews to replace bridge joints on the portion known as Hospital Curve downtown, designed to improve safety, prevent recurring potholes, and reduce the need for future maintenance closures. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet did not say when the closure there on I-65 and the maintenance will be rescheduled. Brand new on the night team, the mayor's office tonight has some new information for you about the Louisville child who has measles, the first reported case in Louisville. The child visited the little clinic located inside the Dixie Highway Kroger store on July 9th. Kentucky Public Health says that child got measles after traveling out of the country. As of today, it's confirmed that there remains only one case of measles in the Louisville Metro, but there's a total of 13 now in Kentucky. Out of caution, the health department and Kroger continue to engage in contact tracing. They say anybody who visited the little clinic Kroger store there on Dixie between 9:15 a.m. and noon on July 9th may have been exposed to measles. Now, we asked infectious disease specialist Ruth Carrico about the virus earlier on WHAS 11 News.
Where every individual is, do you have access to your health records? Many moms, like, I'm a mom, I still have my children's vaccine records, so if they have a question, I can pass that on to them. Or secondly, ask your healthcare provider, your physician, your nurse practitioner, ask, do we have any records in our state immunization information system, our state registry? That is where we put a lot of this information if it's available.
Carrico recommends the 2 doses of the vaccine as a child. She recently retired as the head of Norton Healthcare's Infectious Disease Institute and from U of L's Division of Infectious Diseases. Brand new tonight on the night team, a tornado warning issued this morning by a town in southern Indiana, not the National Weather Service. And the tornado itself was considered to be so brief and small, it was called an EFU. That's a term we've never heard around here before. No serious damage and no injuries. WHAS 11 night team's Jose Alonso and photojournalist Levi Hammer headed just a few miles north of Louisville to track it down with the captivating video taken by those who saw it.
A tornado.
Caught on camera, a summer tornado in southern Indiana.
Can we get tornadoes in July and August? Yes, I bet that's very rare.
WHAS 11's extreme weather specialist, John Gordon, calling this a unique weather event.
Look at it. That's spinning, ain't it? Yeah.
The National Weather Service in Indianapolis deeming this an EFU tornado.
They saw rotation on the video. It was observed. A tornado, don't forget, is a rotating column of air with contact with the ground, but they found no damage. So they did something very unusual. EFU, the enhanced Fujita, the rating scale, U meaning unknown. They couldn't see any damage.
It also means the twister was so weak, the National Weather Service did not issue a tornado warning, but they did conduct a survey around 10:31 in the morning. This map shared on X shows the tornado just south of Seymour. Officials say it touched down for less than a minute.
It could happen in a field, but I saw where it's at. It's got corn in there, but they didn't see any of the corn down. You got to remember, there was very, very weak wind shear, and it had a hard time spinning all the way to the ground. It was a very minimal storm.
Gordon previously led the National Weather Service in Louisville and says this weak rotation did not call for a warning. And EFU tornadoes like this one are not common in Kentuckiana.
They do this in the plains, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Texas, because they can't see anything. In this part of the woods, you usually get some damage, trees, power lines, even corn vegetation. But the friends up in Indianapolis, they didn't find any.
Although it looks scary on camera, thankfully, no one was hurt. In Jackson County, Jose Alonso, WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Gordon also says Congress gives the National Weather Service the power to issue the official warnings. For those of you, by the way, who saw a tornado warning on social media, John Gordon says that most likely came from a private company that does not have that kind of authority.
For the last decade, Mitch McConnell has really let Kentucky down, let America down, and most importantly, let down President Trump.
Only on WHAS 11 News today, he calls himself a disruptor and the anti-Mitch McConnell. U.S. Senate candidate Republican Nate Morris. It's the Lexington businessman's first one-on-one television interview here in Louisville. Although Morris now lives in Lexington, he originally from Middletown in eastern Jefferson County. An Eastern High School grad, Morris got into politics after a serious injury playing football there. Despite his love of politics, Morris is branding himself as an outsider from Capitol Hill. During our wide-ranging interview with our political reporter, Isaiah Kim Martinez, he asked Morris about the last Republican to lead the state of Kentucky, one-term governor Matt Bevin.
You know, Matt Bevin certainly did some interesting things. Certainly didn't end well in a lot of ways and disappointed some. But look, I did appreciate that he tried to shake things up and tried to provide a different perspective.
Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr from Central Kentucky and former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron are among the other Republicans already in the race. Kentucky State Representative Pamela Stevenson, retired U.S. Air Force of Louisville, is the only Democrat running so far for U.S. Senate.
I'm traveling more because I'm trying to be a common sense, common ground, get things done type of voice that can pull not just Democrats back together, but hopefully pull Republicans and independents together too, and say, let's focus on these everyday needs of Americans. Let's depoliticize them and get people results.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear right there in the state of South Carolina tonight. After constant presidential bid speculation, the governor started a tour of South Carolina today, mostly Republican state. He introduced himself as someone with an established record of winning in a deeply Republican state as well. In his speech, he says Americans have experienced chaos, incompetence, and cruelty since Donald Trump returned to the White House, and that the new tax and spending cuts will hurt people on Medicaid and receiving food assistance in particular. Though the first presidential primary votes are more than 2 years away, several possible contenders have traveled to South Carolina now, New Hampshire and Iowa, states that usually have an early and oversized role in the nomination. Brand new tonight, JCPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood is urging Kentucky lawmakers to support his release of vital education funding. This comes as the Trump administration withheld more than $6 billion in federal funds for several educational programs nationwide. Dr. Yearwood explains how this is an additional financial burden on the JCPS district since they are already facing serious budget cuts. The newly installed superintendent sent individual letters to Senators Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul, as well as Congressman Brett Guthrie and Morgan McGarvey. Senator McConnell late today joined 9 other Republican senators, urging the offices of management and budget to release the money, saying in part, the decision to withhold this funding is directly contrary to President Trump's goal of returning K-12 education to the states. This funding goes directly to states and local school districts where local leaders decide how this funding is spent. We have an update here for you tonight. A 5-year-old boy with autism who disappeared and was found dead this week died of drowning. We learned that heartbreaking news today from the coroner in southern Kentucky. 5-year-old Silas Shearer died after wandering away from his Hart County home early Tuesday. That's about an hour and a half south of Louisville. A preliminary autopsy reveals the cause of death is drowning. WHAS11 News has been told by Kentucky State Police that no foul play is suspected. Silas was the subject of Kentucky's very first Ian Alert, meant to notify surrounding communities of a missing child with special needs who could be in danger. Kentucky State Police have now identified the state trooper who was shot and injured in Sunday's violent string of events that left 2 women dead in Lexington. KSP says Trooper Jude Remillion, a 3-year veteran, assigned to Post 12 in Frankfort, remains in the hospital in stable condition. Kentucky State Police investigators are leading the investigation, which remains ongoing in central Kentucky. Late today, the nonprofit organization called Community Connections Group addressed gun violence in Louisville with a news conference. Founder of the organization, James Linton, says too many families have been torn apart by gun violence in Louisville neighborhoods. He hopes to create a call to action with these news conferences.
We have to talk about where do you hope to be at the age of 25. Most young people that we talk to don't expect to live past the age of 20. So we want to change the hearts, we want to change the mindsets, and we want those young people who want something better for themselves.
Tomorrow, the Community Connections Group is going to have a state of emergency event at the same place as today from 5:30 to 6 p.m.